stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I'll be opening public comment right now at 6:31 for the next 30 minutes. Anybody public? Nope. Great. Winnacunnet Pride.
All right, so
Wait, introduce yourself.
I'm Zoe Muller. I'm the new student body president.
Yay!
Welcome.
Welcome.
So today was the last day of school for everybody. We had finals Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Seniors had their graduation on Friday, and they had Maura Healy as the guest speaker. It went very well. And then night school graduation was last Tuesday. And then all last week, the seniors had their senior week activities. They had senior banquet, scholarship night. They had a senior sunrise and chem free. Student council, we went to the State House on May 24th, and we were awarded honor council.
Yay, congratulations.
Thank you. The junior class just had a beach cleanup as their community service event, and the freshmen are having the comic book show this Saturday as their fundraiser. For the arts, they had a spring concert for band and chorus on May 30th. And we also had a Culture Matters performance from Inca Son from Bolivia and Peru on May 31st. And then sports, girls tennis won the state doubles. Girls lacrosse went to the state championship. And our boys track went to the state championship, and boys lacrosse and the girls softball went to semifinals.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Do we want to talk about?
Yes, we would love to talk about the tennis team, please. So our tennis team, Coach Whitmore would like to come up and introduce your two champions for us.
I'll start with Mia.
Oh,
Here, come on
have
over.
you use our microphone so people at home can hear you?
That's
That's
okay. Oh, sorry. We need to move.
Thank you for inviting us tonight. This is Mia Botnick. She's a freshman. As a freshman, playing number 2, she went 13-1 this year in singles, and she combined with Stella, and they went 13-1 during the regular season in doubles, only losing a tiebreaker. They were seeded number 4 in the state tournament. Great year for a freshman. Stella Sabini. Stella Sabini has played number 1 at Winnacunnet 3 out of the 4 years. She played number 2 behind Polina Makarenko last year, and she won the state doubles last year with Polina. This year they were seeded number 4 going in, and I think all of us felt that that was a little, we should have been seated higher, but we didn't say anything. We just went out there and showed everybody what we could do. They really didn't have any close matches throughout the tournament, which speaks to the way they play. They play like doubles players should play. A lot of teams play as singles players on a doubles court, but they played tremendous doubles and strategized, communicated well all year, and the tournament was just unbelievable. A great accomplishment from 2 girls. I'm going to be sad losing Stella, obviously. She's set all sorts of records here at Winnacunnet, and Mia has that to look forward to. She's on her way to some records too. So Stella really wants to come back and watch her play quite a bit, but these 2 girls were unbelievable in the tournament and really deserve a lot of praise for what they did.
Well, congratulations.
You wanna say anything? Stella, would you like to say anything?
Yeah.
No, I just want to say how grateful and happy I am that Mia came out for the team. She's a lacrosse player. She also plays volleyball off season, and she came onto the team. I really didn't know her at first. I knew of her because we went to the same middle school, but I was a little worried. I was like, oh, is she gonna beat me? I don't know. But I mean, we collabed, and we just right from the beginning we like bonded, and we knew that we wanted to have a repeat in the doubles championship, and we knew that we could do that. And when we play together, we just have like a bond and a chemistry, and it's rare to see like a senior and a freshman have that, especially since you only get 1 year together. But I'm glad this year ended the way it did, and even we went to semis as a team, second year in a row. So I'm just happy she came out, and I'm glad my season ended the way it did.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Stella, are you going to be playing? Are you going to? What are you doing? Let's start with
I'm
this.
going to UNH.
UNH.
Yeah.
Are you going to play?
Yeah, club. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Good girl.
Yes.
Awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Continued success.
Yes.
Thank you for
Very
representing
proud of you.
Winnacunnet so well.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yes.
Of course.
Love it.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. Go ahead. Mia's like,
I don't know, is this on?
yes.
Oh, it's on.
I don't know. Just being a freshman, I feel like it was kind of nerve-wracking coming into this as a singles and also doubles player. But playing with Stella, I feel like it's different. It's like, it's like your built-in best friend on the court. And she found a way to like keep my composure at all times, which is just great to have.
That's nice. That's awesome. Wonderful. Well, continued success to both of you, and thank you so much for coming and sharing with us today. We appreciate it. Thanks, Coach.
Proud of you, and thank you. Yeah, thank you to Coach as well. And you were welcome to duck out.
Yeah.
Before we continue, a couple of school board meetings, we had the literary magazine
Yes.
come. So I believe Cameron is here to address us tonight.
Oh, good.
Excellent.
Yay.
Oh, and we get one.
And we get one. I know. I love them.
Hello, everybody.
Hi,
It is
Camden.
me, Camden.
Camden, how are
Sorry
you?
for the confusion.
That's okay.
As you already remember, I was the editor-in-chief this year. I hope to be so next year, but we're bringing back elections, so maybe I won't be up on this podium. But here's hoping. So as you might remember, back in the fall, I think when we last came up here, we were setting out our plans for next year and really thinking about what we could do. Kira, who was unable to make it today, she has been doing an ELO as trying to find a way to do community outreach for this, and set up all those things we were talking about with our poetry readings and whatnot. And and according to her, I've kind of trying to be hands off about it. She has thankfully said that we are probably not going to need anything next year, which I think is wonderful that we're able to work with what we have. And really just a timeline. We stopped collecting submissions in February, but we spent a few weeks actually designing it instead of the month or two that we usually have, just because this year was a little bit slower in terms of the submission volume we were getting. I think it was because we didn't have a whole lot of we lost a whole lot of creative minds last year because of the graduations. But I still think that this magazine continues to get better every year that I've worked on it, and I'm going to be going into my third year doing on this, and I believe that it will be even better than the ones before it. So I do have some copies if you'd like me to pass that out.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Thank you.
Please.
Available in the guidance office and outside various advisor classrooms.
Thank you.
Are these going out into the general public? Do you know?
I believe that Kira is going to be working on that
Okay.
for next year.
For next year, okay.
We have not currently.
Yes, we'll get that to her. Thank you.
These would be nice in like coffee shops.
I know, that's what we
Yeah,
said.
I think you had mentioned one of the pieces was you had limited publication funds, right? So you
Yes.
were going to be potentially looking for sponsors for next year so you could increase the volume.
Yes, Kira, I do not know how she does all this, but she has said to the advisors and myself that there really shouldn't be much of a need. We take our 200 and we do go very far with them. We give away about a quarter of them at our distribution party, where we just track down everyone who submitted because they deserve to have the book that they're featured in, of course. and we have been able to have a lot of stockpile. We do have some boxes in the closet, but it would be really nice to have collections out. But that again is completely Kira. I wish I was able to coordinate as well as she could, and I think that this ELO has been a really great opportunity for her to take something that I initially started doing just for fun, and then actually trying to see career paths coming from it. So I think that's just really special for her and all of us, so that we're able to actually make this something that we can use later in life.
It's awesome. Should you, next year, as you're coming, you'll be involved next year, if it comes to a point where to get it out into coffee shops and things in the area, that you'd need some extra funding, please come to the board for it, okay? Because we will find it somewhere to support this, okay? We really appreciate it, and it's...
I'm sure we will be stopping by in the fall as we did this year already.
Good.
So we will be seeing you. This is not the last time you'll be seeing me, unfortunately for you guys.
Oh, it's so hard to see you every year. No, come on.
We look forward to it.
And I will contact my friends at the chamber and see how we can get them out.
I was just gonna say,
Yeah,
exactly. So, yeah, we can use all of our sources along with yours and get it out because, again, just to show everybody what's going on here and the talent that's here is something that we all want to do, and this shows it off beautifully. So congratulations on another great issue. I can't wait.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
everyone.
Camden, I loved the idea of taking copies of this to like KB's or something on the beach. And I'm thinking maybe this summer, any other spots along the beach, whether it be coffee houses or something, if you've got some, and even last year's copies to leave out for people who come into town and are just looking for something to read when they read, might be a worthy endeavor. And like I said, even if you have copies from last year to leave, that would spark some interest. Sorry.
That would be lovely. No, it would be.
You didn't tell I wrote jingles.
It's okay. I wrote the tagline for our poetry reading, which is "Sparks Fly." So you know.
There you
what?
go. There you go.
Love it.
Have fun.
I will definitely talk to them. I have
Okay.
no idea where our stockpile is.
Okay.
It's
Just
probably in a room somewhere, maybe collecting dust. I hope not. But I will definitely. I will be telling them about this. But
Okay.
I will try
Thank
and
you.
see what I can do about that.
Good luck. Thank you.
Great, thank you, and enjoy your summer.
Thank you.
You as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Superintendent's report.
Well, you've heard about a number of the high school events already from Zoe. Between concerts and evening school and scholarship night and graduation and our athletic competitions, it's been a very busy last month of school. We have, at the SAU level, we are in the process of hiring a replacement for Dr. Hobbs to step into our Director of Curriculum Instruction and Assessment role. So interviews for that process have begun, and we expect to have a joint board meeting sometime in the next few weeks, hopefully, to fill that post so that we have someone ready to hit the ground running before our staff come back this fall. We are also in the process of wrapping up the school year and all of our transitions. We'll be welcoming all of our 9th graders into high school, making sure our summer programs are ready, finishing registration for all of those programs. And again, that also continues in our K-8 schools. And we are wrapping up hiring again across our district. So just a very busy time of year as we finish off those things and gearing up to start the new fiscal year on July 1st, but I'll leave that to Matt.
Yeah. All right, thank you. We have David's last report.
We do.
We won't even go there. If anybody has any questions, we can grab him before he leaves. Student Services report, Mary?
Sure.
So we received the recent results of the September 2023 Youth Risk Behavior Survey. As you know, it's a survey that is given across the country, but in New Hampshire every other year. It's a reliable tool from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. And Winnacunnet has participated since 2001 in this survey. The participation for this go-around included 707 students. It was about 68%. And it was lower than the participation rate that we had in 2021 when 80% of our students participated. So just wanted to put that out there, but still a very reliable number to take a look at what the survey tells us. The responses are anonymous. We ask our students to be as honest as possible, and you can see the categories listed there on your report. They talk about drug, alcohol, and tobacco use, dating risks, suicide, tobacco use, other kinds of vehicle safety, other health risks. They talk to them about questions about bullying and if they feel safe, etc. So overall, it's a very long survey. There's many, many questions. And overall, when compared to New Hampshire, nearly all of the responses from the Winnacunnet students were similar to the New Hampshire results. However, across New Hampshire and within Winnacunnet, we have some areas of what we would consider increased risk and things that we want to continue to keep an eye on. Just a couple of them for your review here. The percentage of students who currently used marijuana one or more times during the past 30 days, we were actually above the New Hampshire average at close to 30% of students who answered that. The percent of students who ever used an electronic vape product was again above the New Hampshire average, close to 40%. So that's something for us to take stock of. Don't know if it has to do with the close proximity to the border of Massachusetts, although it sounds like, you know, vape shops could be opening up and more things could be available here as well. And then the percent of students who ever felt sad or hopeless almost every day for 2 or more weeks in a row during the past 12 months. That was just at the state average, 38.8% for us. You know, that's something we have to take stock of and notice of. That's a considerable number of students who are telling us through this survey that you know, these feelings are so overwhelming that it causes them to stop doing their usual activities. And it's nothing that I don't think that we didn't know, but just having the data about these things just makes it more real and helps our counseling staff and our social workers and those who are working with our teachers to be available and to have an awareness that this is going on. And then there's just another statistic that was alarming in terms of students who are admitting to texting or emailing while they're driving a car, over 50%. So, and that was just during the last 30 days before they took the survey. And another alarming percentage, again, kind of tied with the New Hampshire average, over 75% of our students are saying that they spend 3 or more hours per day on the screen. And so we know by listening to them that, you know, some of that is in school, maybe more of it than we would like it to be. As educators, we've become very reliant on Google Classroom and screen time and kids using the screen. So that might be something that we look at. There's lots of good news that came out of the survey as well. The percentage of students who tried to quit using tobacco products is over 50%. So that's good news. Percentage of students who saw a dentist in the last 12 months is close to 80%. Excellent news. The percent of students who strongly agree that in their community they feel like they matter to people was over 60%, a little higher than the state average. So kudos for those at Winnacunnet who are making our kids feel important. That's really helpful. And students who would feel comfortable seeking help from one or more adults besides their parents if they have an important question, for Winnacunnet, close to 85%. So that's really extraordinary. We'll continue to do work using multi-tiered system of support in all of our district schools, all of the districts in the SAU, and make sure that intervention teams are providing support to our students and outreach to the community in order to be sure that we're meeting the needs of our kiddos. But again, really important information that our kids give us when they take this survey, and helps us to set our course and our plans for what we're going to do.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Were there any indicators of why we had such a decrease this year from the previous?
I talked to one of the social workers about that. We haven't done a real deep dive into all of this. It's a very long survey. We will do more analysis on this and possibly come back to you in the fall with a deeper analysis. But one of the things that we think is that, you know, when parents know that this is happening, they may choose to keep their kids home that day, or, you know, let them, you know, not be there for the survey. I don't know if Principal McGowan has another idea of why the
I mean,
may have been lower.
Students can opt out depending on the day we gave it. I can take a look as far as the actual date. Also in 2021, we had some issues with the wireless, not at our end, but at the YRBS. So I'm not sure, you know, those results may be skewed, but I'll work with Tally, and typically we do a full presentation, so we'll bring that back to you in the fall.
Okay, thank you.
Is this survey an opt-in or an opt-out?
It's an opt-in.
It is.
It's an opt-in. It's the one non-academic survey for the state of New Hampshire that we don't need consent for. The Department of Education promotes it across the state. And, you know, as Principal Gowan said, students do not, we don't force them to take it. They
Right.
can certainly opt out, but,
Okay.
yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Thank
Okay.
you, Mary.
Thank you.
I was just gonna say Officer McGowan.
It was
Principal-
President, Officer, Chief, everything.
I haven't decided which yet today, so principals report.
Well, in the future, I'm gonna go first because
I think
there's
so.
nothing for you to
Because
say.
by the time we get to you, we've all talked about everything, so, yeah.
But yeah,
okay.
I mean, we had a great evening, school graduation, scholarship awards program. The amount of money that's received is amazing. And, you know, Winnacunnet, thank you to the Winnacunnet Dollars for Scholars each year. Great graduation ceremony, great speakers. It was fun. Today was the last day of school, so the year's over.
It's also fun.
It's also a fun thing, yay.
Teachers have a couple more days. Tomorrow morning we are doing the celebrating the retirees and the Legacy Project. So that will be fun tomorrow morning. And then we did receive one donation, the Black Pride Giving Fund. We usually get about anywhere between $40 to $80 a month. We received $66.66 this past month. And the only activity going on is, as mentioned, the comic book show for the class of 2027. And we're wrapping up, I mean, the year's end. Again, we had great performances on the stage, the band, things like that. Athletics did very well, so it's been a very successful year.
Great, thank you.
Bill, quick question for you. I was looking at the enrollment numbers, and I was just curious if you have any insight as to how many kids will be coming along next fall?
I think the numbers are pretty steady, but I can get those.
Okay, I'm just
Yeah.
curious, because I noticed the 9th grade, there was an uptick to 130. No, wait, I'm sorry, 282.
Well, yeah, I mean, the current freshman now is a little bit higher. Next year, the incoming freshman is a little bit lower.
Okay, all right, thank you.
All right, Matt? We haven't discussed your stuff yet.
Good evening. So I have included the fiscal year-to-date expenditure and revenue reports on board docs as we are approaching the June 30th year end. We do anticipate finishing this fiscal year with a total budget deficit of approximately $300,000, which is primarily due to the going over budget in special education, health insurance, as the two largest deficits, but we're also over budget in vocational school tuition, McKinney-Vento transportation to transport our homeless and foster students, the alternative to suspension program pilot, as well as some long-term substitute teacher costs. As you're aware, fortunately, we do have expendable trusts that do safeguard us and our financials when we have these type of situations with unanticipated costs. So we as we had presented at the last meeting and the board approved, we will be withdrawing from those expendable trusts to cover the deficit. And we did vote for up to a worst case scenario. So we anticipate that will only be using a portion of the Special Education Expendable Trust. And we still have our health insurance expendable trust for future unanticipated costs. Also looking forward to next budget year, we will likely be recommending proposed warrant articles that will contribute and reestablish as well as stabilize those building maintenance and special education trusts. Be happy to answer any questions in regard to the the expenses or revenues.
Anybody have any questions?
Oh, I had a question. So how much did we go over in the alternative to suspension program?
Well, that was an unbudgeted pilot program, so it was $90,000.
Okay. But so next year we're all set for that?
So
'cause we
next
put it
year
in the
we've
budget.
budgeted for that full program,
Okay,
and so we're all set.
okay.
Anybody else? Thank
How
you,
about
Matt.
the vocational tuition? Is that gonna be on track with what we budgeted for next year, so we don't go over again? Or does it, you can't tell until you see the enrollment?
So it's a combination of both. We don't always have the tuition increase when we budget, and that was the case last year, as well as our participation levels. So that was this past year. There's a combination of both. We had budgeted for a lower tuition amount and not as many students as anticipated, which is a great problem to have. It's really great to see the enrollment at SST increase. So it's a little early to forecast for next year. However, I do think that our tuition is what we had budgeted is a slightly lower than what the actual tuition rate came.
Yeah, just to add, one of the challenges is even if we were exactly right about our number of students participating, the cost to run SST is divided by the total number of students who attend SST from all of the sending schools. So we pay for our students, but as a share of the total number of students who are attending.
Yeah.
And it's often the case that students in the spring, have every intention to attend there, and then when school starts in the fall, some change their mind. And obviously they have wait lists for programs. They do their best to fill as many seats as possible, but there's always some fluctuation in that, and so it does make it very hard to provide that number in advance. 18
Yeah, I
months
just
in
don't want us
advance.
to end up in a deficit again,
Right.
if it sounds like we already budgeted low for that. But we can't go back and fix the budget, right?
No.
No, okay.
It's very early on, but I don't anticipate the same type of deficit that we incurred this year by any stretch. So,
Thanks, Matt. Appreciate it.
thank you.
Your facilities report is in there. And then we have the minutes from the meeting of May 15th. There's no corrections. Could I get a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from May 15th.
I'll second.
All those in favor? Thank you very much. Winnacunnet goals, we're gonna table so that when we have a full board, because I want Desiree here for those. So we're up to the audit. Got one more minute
Matt
for,
a few times in a row.
yeah.
This is the fun part of the agenda.
Yeah.
Our student rep hasn't learned to leave right before.
Yeah.
I,
You can sneak out,
All
Matt.
right.
Yeah, when you see Matt stand up, you can, right,
So as you're aware, we do have an independent auditor, Plotzik and Sanderson, who is preparing to come on site to the SAU office to conduct their annual audit for fiscal year 2024. So this fiscal year that we are just finishing up. During that on-site visit, they will review all of our financial documentation, our policies, our fiscal control measures, and then ultimately they will provide and publish a financial report for fiscal year 24. That fiscal report will include any findings or recommendations that they may have. So as part of that audit process, they do ask that the school board, as the governing body, complete the attached questionnaire. So that's it. When I say attached, that is on board docs. I have updated that questionnaire with the answers that the board provided this past year, with any board member changes that I received via email. So this evening's board meeting does represent that final formal public review for the school board. So as such, if there are any changes or corrections to the questionnaire, please let me know and I will adjust it. And then if otherwise, I will submit that final questionnaire to the board chair for their signatures, and then it'll be submitted to Plodzik and Sanderson.
I don't think does anybody, have you guys gone through, did you see anything that you wanted changed?
I just had a note about updating committees to this year's versus last year's, but Matt's already taken care of that, I think.
Okay.
I believe I updated them all. However, if you happen to note that I mistakenly put the wrong committee, please let me know and I'll update it.
Mine is fixed.
Yours right. Nicole, yours is right.
Mm-hmm.
Desiree's is right. Tamara's yours right.
Yes.
Trish?
Yep.
Good, we're good to go.
Great.
Like that. Thanks, Matt.
We don't have to
And
say like out
you
loud
do
the
need-
answers anymore.
Do we need a vote?
I figured that I would email it to you in advance and save you the going through every question.
Okay. All right, next up, you've got the award of wait a minute, it's 7:03, we're gonna close public comment. Nobody's here. Unless you want to speak public. No, kidding. All right, so then we have the award of bid.
So the bid process has concluded for the 5-year copier and printer lease agreement. That RFP was a cooperative SAU-wide bid, so that the purpose of structuring it in that manner is to achieve economies of scale and optimal pricing. We have recognized approximately 30% in savings by consolidating that agreement across the SAU. So we are recommending award of bid to RICO in the amount of $49,202.01 per year for the 5-year lease agreement. And there are two motions that we were asking the board to approve. One is the approval of the lease agreement, and it is a very wordy motion, so you can approve it as presented. That the language is wordy because it is a municipal lease, which means that it's not your traditional retail lease where like a car lease where you pay a monthly payment and then return the car at the end of the 2 or 3 year term. At the end of this term under a municipal lease, there is a dollar buyout where we own the equipment. So it's more like financing. But that the reason for the wordy motion is for IRS regulations. The second motion is to authorize me to execute that agreement.
Okay. So can we get somebody to motion? I would suggest we do it as stated, as
Yeah.
presented. Go ahead, Nicole.
I'll make a motion regarding the copier printer lease as presented.
Great,
Motion to approve as presented.
perfect. Second?
Okay, second.
Great. All those in favor? And then to allow Matt to sign, which would be the next one.
I'll make a motion to authorize the associate superintendent for finance and operation to execute and deliver the tax exempt lease as presented.
I'll second.
Great. All those in favor? Perfect. Thank you, Matt. Next one. budget development timeline and deliberative session.
Aren't you
Already?
excited?
I'm so
The
excited.
calendar for
Oh
next
my
year.
That's like not till November, right?
I know.
Well,
Does that mean I can start spending now?
Yes.
I'm glad to see such enthusiasm for the budget
Love it.
process.
Mm-hmm.
It does creep up on you quicker than expected, but we will be starting that budget development, in the early fall, September timeframe. Principal McGowan does a lot of work with his team to bring forth really a bottom up budget, and works with the SAU to develop a budget that we intend to present to the school board by October 30th. As you know, we'll spend a few lovely evenings together, a few hours each evening, to review the budget, make any adjustments, and finalize a school board approved budget that will be delivered to the budget committee by November 26th. The public hearing date is scheduled for January 15th, and the deliberative session is proposed for February 6th, 2025, and we are asking the board to approve that deliberative session date of February 6th.
I have a motion to hold. Go ahead.
I move to hold the deliberative session for Winnacunnet High School on Thursday, February 6th, 2025 at 7 p.m.
Thank you. Second?
second that.
Thank you. All those in favor? Great. Thank you very much. And are you up for, no?
Can
That's it.
I actually have a budget related question. It's
Sure.
kind of special education related. And it's also calendar related. I've heard some talk among the state legislators looking at budgets and state funding for special education. And there's been some just preliminary discussions of looking into legislation that might enable school districts to, for any family that moves into a new district or within the state, it would probably have to be, to capture the funds from the district from which they came for the first year, just to help with the budgeting process, in case you have a student who moves into the district and brings, a cost burden. And I don't know if anybody's interested in or heard anything about that. I just wanted to put that out there, that I'd be willing to, liaison with the legislators about that. It sounded sort of like, in the front, a good idea, but I think it's fraught with complications. But I think it was a way to help sort of level some of the budget crises that happen.
So one mechanism that's currently in place is that you can ask for your special education aid essentially a year in advance. You can kind of apply for emergency aid. Typically, our special education aid comes like the year after you incur the expense.
Okay.
Right? So if we were to spend $500,000 on an emergency placement next year, it would be the following fiscal year that we get reimbursed the amount over, right, the 3.5 to 10 times the state average cost per pupil that we get that additional money. And there is a mechanism under state law where you can apply for that the year that you incur the expense on an emergency basis. The challenge with that is there aren't a lot of funds available and they disappear very quickly.
That's typical.
Right?
Yeah, I think that's part of it.
And this feels like a way for the state to say, to push that off on local communities, to me. By sort of my first reaction. I mean, I appreciate the thought behind, right, not wanting any community to incur those costs. And, if the child isn't residing in that community, it seems like it would kind of be in violation of residency laws to then have a mechanism where the child used to live in Exeter and then moved to Hampton for Exeter to still be responsible for those costs, even though the child's no longer a resident. So I just wonder what other changes to the law that might.
It was an interesting conversation about, because it involved some folks who sort of are championing the money following the student type situation, so I
Except
don't
it's
know.
all local dollars, right, in the state for the most part.
That have already been raised.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay,
And
I was just curious, I don't wanna get into a huge conversation, but I thought it was kind of
I would be very
interesting.
interested in following that too,
Okay.
and certainly if you hear more, if I hear more, I'm happy to engage in that conversation, because I do think it's interesting.
Yeah,
I think it's complex in a state where most of that burden still falls on local communities
right.
and how that's approached and thinking through all the other aspects of it. But I
Yeah.
think it's an interesting.
And I think
thought.
there are certain communities and school districts that are sort of targeted by their success for that
Sure.
sort of thing, so,
Sure.
anyway. Okay, well, thank you, I just wanted to bring that up, as something
Yeah, I'm glad you did.
kicking around.
Thank you. Summer hiring, so we don't have a school board meeting in July. Thank you, Matt, sorry. We don't have a meeting in July, so what we're asking is to give the superintendent, the ability to sign contracts for June, July, and August.
So you need a motion on that?
Yes, please.
We don't currently have any vacancies that we need to fill that I'm aware of, but sometimes things change, so we just like to be prepared.
Yes.
I will move that the superintendent of schools is authorized to offer contracts during June, July, and August. Candidates' names will be brought to the board for ratification at the next scheduled board meeting in either August or September.
Thank you. Second?
Second.
Great, thank you. All those in favor? Beautiful. We don't have any personnel, right?
We do not.
We do not. So our future meetings, we have a calendar here. I just want to point out that we do have this calendar for school board meetings and whatnot, and with the planning of everybody, if we can try and keep it hard on our calendars, and if it, granted, something comes up, whatever, sickness, those kind of things, but because so much planning goes into keeping everybody on track, if we can put these in our calendars now, just so that we've got things up. Yeah.
And Rhonda will be sending out
Yes, she will.
invitations.
Yes.
Sometime
Yes, she
in the
will.
next few days. She's already started.
Yes, so, and it's just hard coordinating it. I mean, we've always been really good about it, but then there's always, there's other things that come up, so. And then we have a joint board, policy committee meeting is on August 7th. And our next school board meeting is August 21st. I know. I don't know how we'll do this, so, long time, guys. We do not have to go into non-public, so I will entertain a motion.
To adjourn. Motion to adjourn.
There you go. Second?
I'll second.
Perfect. All those in favor?
No, I'd like to stay here.
Okay. You guys have a great summer.
Yes.